Welcome to the Tynee Talks podcast, the podcast that educates and entertains, the podcast where you come to laugh and learn. I am so excited to have today's guest with me. I have Miss Shawana Carter in the building, and she's going to be talking about her fabulous and wonderful and empowering organization. But before I get into all of that, we got to give a word to our show sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by none other than 810 Tacos, 810 Tacos. 810 Tacos is a high quality premium seasoning pack, a taco seasoning pack brand packed with 9 spices that are high in flavor and guess what? Low in sodium. So you don't gotta have no high blood pressure for your for the flavor to be good, for the taste to be impeccable, and for you to take your taco night up to the next level. Be sure to visit 810tacos.com and take your next gathering to the next level. Today's episode is entitled Meeting the Needs of the People, featuring Shawana Carter, CEO, founder, and creator of Carter's House. And let me tell y'all a little something about Carter's House before I get into the meat of the matter. Carter's House assists families that do not meet the housing criteria required by many assistance programs. In most school districts, customers have to provide a valid ID and current proof of receipt of state benefits to receive assistance. Carter's House was founded in 2013, so they're almost 10 years in, guys. They're almost 10 years in, and with that being said, there's going to be a 10-year celebration, and my girl gonna need some money. So we're going to have all the information on how to give and all that in the show. So it's founded in 2013 to help families provide quality, low-cost clothing. We thought this would be an occasional uniform given out, yet as the years have progressed, we have seen a real need for our service in the community, and we are excited to help our community be a better place. Carter's House, headquartered in the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center in Dallas, Texas. You heard it, folks, in Dallas, Texas, and assists families with children ages 0 to 18. So that 18-year-old ain't grown, that 18-year-old is still a baby, and up to 21 if you're enrolled in a state accredited high school. So if you're still trying to work it out and get that GED and need a little bit of push, the Carter's House got you in North Texas. And they also have annual events. So with that being said, without further ado, welcome Shawana Carter.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome, girlfriend.
I appreciate it. Look, I like that intro. I'm going to have to make sure I get you to do mine every time I go out and speak.
Baby, if you need me to be your hostess with the mostest.
Baby, I'm going to need you as the hype man every time somebody say, can you show up? Yep, but I'm bringing somebody with me, okay?
That's right. Well, I'm only a phone call away, Shawana Carter.
I got you. I got you. You think I'm playing, but I'm so sincere. You're going to be on the next one. I promise.
You have my word, Miss Carter. To my talkers and listeners out there, I came across this beautiful soul in the streets of Dallas out here doing the work. She does not only talk about it, she is absolutely about it. And in my previous role, we had connections, community connections with Miss Carter and her foundation. And I wanted to entitle this Meeting the Needs of the People because in my first encounter with Miss Carter, she was definitely meeting the needs of the people, providing clothing to the citizens in the Dallas area and the DFW area. She was empowering single mothers. And at the time of our encounter, I, was a single mother. I had assistance because, it takes a village, and we'll get into her urban village. So I won't necessarily say single in that sense, but I was unmarried. And she has, support for those women who are grinding, who are working, who just need that extra little nudge. That sometimes you need somebody to watch your baby for a second so you can go to that interview, or sometimes you just need a collar shirt and a nice skirt and a nice pair of shoes so that you can get that job, so you can provide for your family. And Miss Carter does that. So Tell me a little bit more in your own words about Carter's House. I gave the professional spiel, but I want to hear from your soul why and how you began Carter's House.
Oh, okay. Well, let's start with the why. So you are correct. We are 9.5 years old. So we make 10 next March. And yes, there will be a party. So get ready. Boom. I have done this work full time for, I think almost 8 years. But I started this at the time my ex-husband and I had gotten back together after a brief separation, found ourselves financially tapped, right? We both worked. We just didn't have enough money, and we were living in a motel with 3 of our 4 children. I think our youngest was 2. We had a first grader and an 8th grader. And we got ready to start school, and I just didn't have the money to buy uniforms. Right. And so I was terrified because this was the first time I found myself not in a stable housing situation. And so I didn't know what the process was, but I knew my kids had to go to school. Right. I'm a mama. You going to school. I had a whole summer, so it was time to go to school. And so I called the schools where they should enroll and asked, what are my options for assistance? And because we were in a housing crisis, the district had a program that would help with uniforms, 2 uniforms per semester. However, my first grader qualified because they had those size clothes. My 8th grader was already wearing adult male size stuff. And so they weren't used to, they did not, and still to this day don't serve children that size. And so they didn't have anything. And I had a luxury that most of the parents that I've served over the years do not have. I called home, right? I simply called my mama and my dad and was like, look, I need some help. And so they were like, all right, cool, we got it. They went and picked him up, took him shopping and all the things. But I started this after this situation. We got settled, I got our place, and got a better job, got on my feet. And I had worked in customer service for like 20 years at this point. I had done it since I was like 18 years old. And I was in a place where I was kind of like, this ain't it. It's not serving me anymore. And literally prayed and asked God, what do you want me to do for the rest of my life? What is it? What's the setup? Like, I don't want to wait till I'm 50 and have to reinvent myself. We're going to do this work. Let's do this work. And this was what he gave me. Now, my initial vision, and it's still there, is that Carter's House would be a transitional housing space for families. But after figuring out, how much it costs to buy a building and renovate and all the laws in Texas surrounding men and children, I was like, Jesus, maybe this ain't it. Maybe this ain't it. We're going to put that on the back burner. Yeah, it's not gone. It's simmering back there. There are some things happening in the background that may make that come to fruition faster than I planned on it. But I also knew I needed to get to work. And so I reached out to my social media community. At the time, was all I had was friends and old high school classmates. And put a post up and was like, I need clothes. I want to clothe some babies. And 9.5 years later, that's still my same sentiment. All I want to do is clothe some babies. I knew I didn't want another parent to feel the way that my ex-husband and I felt when we had to go in that school and ask for help. I knew that I didn't want a child to feel how my children did. We're trying to figure out, what are we going to wear? And so I wanted to clothe some babies. And yeah, that's what we did. That's what we do. We've done it 9.5 years now. I served over 10,000 students. And so it's just something that we did. How did I start? Yeah, that post was the trigger. That was it. That was the trigger. Literally, Miss Sims, in about 2 weeks' time, my entire living room was full of clothes. And I had everything. I had so much stuff you couldn't even sit on the furniture.
Yes.
It was a mess. My ex-husband, he was like, if you bring one more bag in this house, we're gonna have a problem. We are going to have a problem. And so I had to go get a storage. And then our first year, we served 20 kids.
I love that.
I was working full time, and my kids had one little 5 drawer dresser, and it was full of uniforms, top to bottom, separated by size. That's all I had. I didn't have enough money to buy anything else. My daughter still has that dresser to this day. We won't get rid of it because I know what the value is of
That's
it.
right.
And so the first year was those 20. When I ran out of uniforms, I couldn't do anything else. But we've grown. We've grown way bigger than I ever imagined. That 20 turned into 350 the next year when I did my first back to school event. And from there, it's only gone up. We've gone to, 350 to 500 to 550. And when we first got to South Dallas, we hit 1,700 in a year. And I was like, Lord, I don't know what the world I just signed up for. But let's do the work. And then, excuse me, in the last last 3 years since the pandemic, we've averaged about 3,500 kids annually, which is a lot.
Yes.
I mean, we are a one person run organization. Me. I have some amazing volunteers. One in particular, Miss Felicia Turner, who's with me most days and helps me plan and organize and everything else. She can pretty much run my office without me. But I have listen, if y'all don't have an Auntie P, find you an Auntie P. Because that lady, Miss Sims,
everything.
Let me tell you, that lady is everything. When she came in my office and volunteered with a group and came back 2 weeks later and said, God said, stay with you. And she has been with me ever since. And she has had surgeries, and I've had to make her stay at home because she was like, I don't want you in there by yourself. Child, I've been doing this a long time by myself, but I have some amazing people. My board of directors, my best friend is my board chair, and these people, they ride. Right? They are
they ride or die. The true definition.
Yes, indeed. They understand and respect the mission, and they believe in the work, and it makes it easier. Starting this was not it was a simple task as far as paperwork went. But I'm the kid, like, I just started college like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Congrats.
Yes, thank you. And so I had no formal training on how to run a nonprofit or a business. But I have always believed in the phrase. The church I attended at the time, when I was making the decision to quit my last regular job and do Carter's House full time, the week I was deciding, I was praying and asking God, and that week my pastor preached and said, where God gives vision, he always gives provision.
Pause.
Got it.
Say it one more time.
Where God gives vision, he always gives provision.
God ain't gonna take you nowhere.
No.
Where he ain't made
a way,
proper preparation for you to prosper in that space. You said so many things that I want to circle back and move forward into that, because you and your husband, and it was very important that you said it was you and your husband, because sometimes people look at when people need help that they're a single mom, they don't work, they're looking for a handout. Oh, they just, they have all these
ideas about what it looks like and what it should be.
Of what a person who needs help look. I love that you said that. Yes. Of what a person who needs help look like. You didn't fit the profile because you had a man.
That was it.
And not just your man, like a boyfriend, you had a husband, and you both were working. And sometimes those ends just don't meet.
Yeah. I always tell people we had more months than money. And it just didn't, sometimes it happens.
And sometimes it just catches up to you in that way. I remember in 2017, I had lost my job, and I found myself, college educated, and I found myself in a pantry line. And I remember crying. I'm talking about me and my coworker, our grant, you know how grants are. My grant had ran out, and she and I were both single moms, and we both found ourselves at a food pantry. And we went, let me tell you, it happened. We wanted to not be recognized that we went to one. We went to a food pantry in a well-to-do area, right?
Oh.
Because,
yeah,
and
that's
isn't
real.
that shameful? Like,
But it's real though. It's real. It happens all the time. And we
yeah,
have this perception that, nobody should know that I'm going through. And the reality is we all going
we
through.
all going through. And you
I
want to know what? The line was out the door. It was working class women and
Mhm.
men who just needed help, because at the end of the day, our motivation are our children. You had 2 children. I had a son, and it was like, you know what? Swallow this pride,
Suck it up.
because we're always taught to get it on our own or get out the mud. And
Yep.
the saying goes, if you don't work, you don't eat. But
Yep.
you were working.
That's it. That's it. That's real. That's just the way
and,
it looks,
and
Miss
yet you
Sims.
you needed help. And I love your organization so much, Miss Carter, because you handle people with dignity.
Absolutely.
You handle
Absolutely.
them with care. And sometimes you can go to these organizations, because I just remember 2017, it was a low point for me.
Mm-hmm.
Going to organizations to make those ends meet. Like, I had part of my rent, but I ain't had a rest.
Yep.
So I
Real,
was
real life all day long. Yes.
real life. You got a little
Yes.
bit, you just don't got the
I
rest.
just ain't got the rest.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got the rest. So I was going to these organizations and I was going to these churches, and some people made me feel this low.
Yep.
This
And
low.
that's a huge thing for me, Miss Sims. Like, I've been there. I've been in them lines. I've had to go ask somebody to help pay my rent. I call home, be like, look, I need to borrow some money. I got part of it, but I ain't got all of it. It was in our first 4 years of marriage, Miss Sims, we moved 9 times in 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's real life. When I talk to my customers, we are all the way honest, right? Auntie P is in there and she has 4 children who are grown, but she'll tell you her stories that, raising 4 babies and, being married and all the things. And so we try, I want to be as transparent as I possibly can and make sure people understand I'm not that far removed from where you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When I tell you I understand, I need you to know she
I
ain't making that
understand.
up. I understand. When you talking to me about your kid cutting up and you need help, girl, I got 4. And I didn't seen everything under the sun with them 2 young men and them 2 young ladies.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
And sometimes you think it's only you that's going through it. You're like,
Yep.
dang, why my son acting up? Or, sometimes you get them phone calls home and you're
Yep.
like, are they only calling me?
Right.
So
Why is my phone ringing so much? Ain't nobody else kid acting up in school today? Right. And it's just, that's the very core part of how I do this work day in and day out. And I won't even lie to your listeners or your viewers and tell them that I'm excited about work every day. I am human. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, between July and September, I quit 25 times a day because I'm tired.
that's your peak season?
That's my peak season.
Okay.
Back to school. And then come again by January when school goes back in till about mid-February. I'm busy again because kids have outgrown everything. Yeah. But those times of the year, yeah, I'm walking around all day telling Jesus, I ain't going back. I quit. I'm not doing this no more. Find me a regular job and I'm going home. But y'all laughing. I'm so sincere. People have giggled at that one statement all this time for the last 9.5 years. Shawana, you quit? Yep. But I'll see y'all in the morning. I'll be back. Same time.
That's how you know you really love something. It's just like being a parent. Like, sometimes you want to throw hands at your kids.
That's it.
But you love them so much.
But you get up the next morning and make breakfast and get them on. Come on, let's go to school. Same thing. Exactly the same. And yeah, it's real. And I am determined that even as we've grown, because at this point, Miss Sims, we do way more than the babies. So we have an adult center, which is now in the MLK office. We have a children's center in Park South YMCA, and we have a uniform distribution center in Irving. Yes. And so in that, even with that amount of growth, I am still determined to be relatable. Right. I am determined to make sure my parents understand. I'm determined that when you see me on the street, you can stop me and be like, Miss Carter. And I'm going to stop and we going to talk about it. And I'm going to ask you how them babies doing. Right. And I'm going to check. There are a few that I call and check grades. There are some who call when they need, other things taken care of, and we pass out the resources. but I am still accessible, and I will always be that. I will always be relatable. I am never going to be too far removed from the people I serve, because I need you to understand. I need you to trust me. I need you to trust that when you walk in, you know I got your best interest at heart.
Miss Carter, first of all, I'm about to throw this pen through the window, through this screen right here, because oh my gosh, first of all, I thank you for your work. You said key terms here. You said accessibility. I want to be accessible to the people that I serve.
Yep.
And in my line of work, and how even when we met, I'm into community work. I'm into uplifting the community, and I've seen things. I'm sure you've seen things. And when you say I want to be accessible to the people I serve, sometimes in these nonprofits, right, it ends up becoming a cash cow. It becomes a way, but how can I get more money and get these high profile donors, and I'm seen with the who's who of Dallas. And and then we get because of that, we get separated from the mission. I just received an email the other day to attend a function. I won't even give too many identifiers.
Okay.
But I was sent an email to attend a function that is geared towards being a fundraiser for the people. And one of the seats was $200,000.
Who's coming?
Baby, it ain't me.
Who's coming? Right. I have the same when it comes to when you're talking money and nonprofits, Miss Sims. Like I have operated I've had people say, Shawana, how do you function? Right? Because all money ain't good money. So I don't take all money. Right? I'm particular. I have a brand, we have an image, and more than that, I have people who are watching me. Right? I have people that I have a standard to uphold to make sure that we stay where we are. We are very mission driven. I'm only gonna work in my lane. Okay. I'm gonna do what I do. I do clothes. Right. I might pay some bills on the side for a couple of other people, but it's not an everyday thing for me. And so I stay where we stay. And when you start talking fundraising and money, now Ms. Sims, we've had the people who come to us, the funders, the donors have said, well, I mean, it's clothes. It's not a basic need. And to that, I always say, walk around naked. Tell me what happened. Right. But even more than that, in the situation that you're expressing with the invitation and the ticket prices, you have to be realistic. Now, there are those who say, well, you have fundraisers to attract big donors so they can cut you checks. You don't have those so your people that you serve can participate. Well, I'm a family organization. Right. And so if I got to get somebody to sponsor 10 of my families to come out, they're going to be on site because they're the reason why I get to work, because they, again, trust me enough to come in a time of need. So why would I dare have something and not be able to include them?
Shawana, shut up and close your mouth and then start talking again.
I'm just saying. It's a big deal to me. Like when we try to plan stuff as an organization, people often like, Shawana, you said your price is too low. And I'm like, you're right, they are. But I have people I want to be there.
And they got to be able to afford it. Shawana, we have to move forward, and I'm just enjoying this so much.
You good? Come on. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Who inspires you?
Oh, inspiration comes in all forms. My kids inspire me, all four of them, at different levels. I'm watching them grow, and they are 30, 27, 19, and 15. The oldest two are boys and youngest two are girls. And I'm inspired every day by watching them live life. Right. I watch them the entire time. Of course, they've been here, but watching them grow and progress reminds me, keep going. I'm inspired by my mentors, Erica Moultrie and Francois Booker Drew, Akila Wallace, those women, beautiful Black women who are also in this nonprofit sector, who are putting in major work, right? Shane Woods, people who come in this thing and realize that this ain't no game. This is real work. And whatever field you're in, you need to love this thing. Tavian Harris, who is in Arlington, Texas, with Seasons of Change and has been over there for over 20 years, like first Black woman in Arlington doing housing. I'm watching these women progress and grow, and I'm in this game, and I got some tenure in here. But man, these women have done amazing work. My parents, I started this thing because of my mom and dad, right? We grew up, my sister and I, when I was initially having the thoughts on this, we were talking like, growing up, we didn't even know we was poor. We didn't even realize it. The lights always came on. We might have ate ground beef for a whole week straight, but guess what? We ate every day. Right. And when I prayed and asked God what to do, and this is what came, I literally sat my mom and daddy down and asked them, hey, I want this to be after y'all. Can I use the name? And my father was like, yeah. So, I mean, inspiration for me is just my customers are inspiring because I watch them come in my office. I've seen so many of them come in at what would be a low point, and a point that I recognize. But then I've also watched them come back and call me and say, Miss Carter, I got my housing, or we coming out the shelter this week. Or, I got a job. And the excitement and the belief that this was just a bump is enough to tell me to get up the next day and go to work.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whew, baby. That's inspired me. When they come back and you're just like, I was just a piece of your journey.
That's
and
it.
I'm just so happy to just be a little piece of your journey. And you're their inspirational cheerleader, Miss Carter. Before we go, I have two last things. Why is uplifting people so important and urgent? And then lastly, just tell the people how they can give and donate to Carter's House.
Absolutely. Uplifting is important. We live in a society where it's not enough of that, right? We all got something going on. So taking the time to remind somebody that this is just minor, it really is. In 5 years, this won't even matter. Right? It's a bump. So go over the speed bump and keep it pushing. But I think it's essential to make sure, as society has shifted to what some will say is really bad, if we switch that narrative and begin to uplift each other, I think it shifts back.
That's right.
Right. It shifts back into what some of our parents say it looked like for them growing up, where community was community. And we took care of each other, and we made sure that, grandmama down the street, whether her grandkids showed up or not, she had a meal. If she couldn't make it out, go get her groceries, somebody went in the door and took them without her being afraid of opening the front door. You know what I'm saying? I think that's it has to be key in a lot of things we do. For me, it's a personal mission. I'm a lover of smiles, and so smile at me. I think it changes days. I think it shifts your whole mood. And I think it's necessary. How do you get in touch? All right, so we are on social media. Do not go to my Facebook page. I remember last time I touched it. Go to Instagram. We're on Instagram, Carter's_house. I do have a Twitter, same thing, Carter's_house. It's probably not much on there either. Instagram is usually where you find me. You can go to our website at cartershouse.org. It is also how customers can make an appointment on there. They can find our contact information, shoot me an email if they need to make a request. Donors can send the same contact email to me as well. Donations can be made on our website at cartershouse.org. At the donate button, it sends you to PayPal. You can use Cash App. It is $CH Community. You can write me a check, send it to 2500 Romine Avenue, Dallas, Texas, 75215. And you can call me because I will meet you for money. Please understand. I will meet you for dollars. No, I'm just playing. We'll meet you for money. But no, that's really it. People who like to donate items, I'll be real honest and tell you I'm real particular about what we take right now. What we need at this time is boys' clothes. All sizes. We serve a ton of little boys, and most moms let our boys wear their clothes until they're about to fall apart, and then we go shopping. So I don't get enough little boy stuff, jeans, sneakers, even the baby boy clothes, like newborns to like 24 months. I need it all. Dress clothes, all of it. So our boys have enough selection. Girls, of course, we buy too much, so they don't mind sharing their stuff. But you can make drop-offs any day of the week at our Park South office, which was the address I just gave you. They are open from 6 a.m. until 8 p.m. If I'm not in the office, they will direct you where to drop it. Now with the adult center, you can leave adult clothes at our MLK office. And if you get to MLK and I'm not there, again, they'll tell you where to put it. And we'll get it from there. If you'd like for us to make sure we send you a receipt, attach a piece of paper to it with your name, phone number, and email, and I'll get your receipt sent out. But that's how you find me. You can catch me in the community. You can always find me in sunny South Dallas, where the sun always shines.
But
you can always find me in South Dallas somewhere at an event doing something. We are getting ready for our 3rd annual Harvest Festival, which is our tribute to trunk or treats in South Dallas, and it'll be at Park South Y. So I will be sending you a flyer, Ms. Sims, to post. It's a totally free event, mad fun. We do all the contests, the cakewalk. We have costume contests, dance contests. We have giveaways.
I'm getting in the dance contest. Period.
Girl, come on, because we have laughed. We have laughed. That is classic in South Dallas, honey. We have a blast with that thing. But yeah, so we have some things coming up. This is the second half of the last half of the year, and it always is busy for us. So I'll make sure to keep you abreast. You can let your listeners and viewers know what's popping.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Ms. Shawana Carter. It has been an absolute pleasure. What you're doing in the community is phenomenal. I want my talkers to know she was also recognized by Matthew McConaughey's organization, and she's also always recognized by the people in sunny South Dallas, and she'll always be recognized by Tynee Talks. Thank you so much. All of her information will be down in the show notes, so please give to Carter's House. And again, they need those men and boys clothing. So please, if you can, give and donate. And don't forget to come to the podcast where you come to laugh and learn, the podcast that educates and entertains. Again, today's show was brought to you by 810 Tacos. Visit 810tacos.com, where there's high in flavor and low in sodium, and take your taco night to the next level. Peace.